everyone, it's Sharonda from Payorwait, and today I'm going to be reviewing and recapping from Season 3, Episode 2. This week's episode picks up the morning after everything that transpired, after the monsters lured Boyd and Tinchin into a trap where they decided they was going to break Boyd's spirit, and baby, did they break it, okay? Now, I want to know why Victor was being a little hater telling Jade don't go, and I was like, Victor, you already know what happened. Maybe he was trying to be protective of Jade. He probably knew, like, this might be Jade's 13th reason because he already been going through it in the town, but he goes to check to see who was able to survive, how many animals were they able to save, and when he gets there, he sees that Boyd is handcuffed to the post. Boyd is kind of in this trance. He's chanting in Cantonese, and then as soon as he lets him loose, he runs to Tinchin's body and just, honey, Harold was like, he was giving. He's always giving every single episode, but particularly that scene in the scene with Donna, like, I was like, honey, I don't feel like we put enough respect on Harold's name, but I really love those two moments in this week's episode. I loved his performance in that. And so he's hugging Tinchin's body, you know, he's saying he's sorry. He feels like he's responsible because the monsters did this to break him. They knew that this was going to be something that would really delve deep into the guilt that he already possesses because he can't get everyone out of this town. And so we see that, you know, after Jade, you know, kind of gets him loose and tries to realize what has happened, he's asking the real questions because he was like, hold on. Wait a minute, let's back this up real quick, okay? Like, R.I.P. Tinchin, but how your ass still alive? Why you still living? Like, I see what they did to her, but why you here? And he was like, basically, they wanted me to watch. And so this makes it even scarier because it's one thing to have a town that's being, you know, terrorized by these monsters. But when you have these monsters who are coming up with smart plans, they are literally poisoning the soil so no one has anything to eat. They're letting the barn animals out to try to trap Boyd to make sure that they don't have any food to sustain themselves throughout the winter. It's kind of getting a little bit scary. It's one thing you got a monster, but then when you have these smart monsters, I don't know how I will feel about this. I feel like I will be very, very scared at this point. And you can tell that Boyd is scared. He doesn't know what to do because he can't believe that he fell for a trap from the monsters just when they thought that they had the upper hand. So we see Boyd and Jade, they bring Tinchin's body out, takes her body to the church. Now, why they have my girl legs hanging out like that with no meat on the bones? Y'all could have kept that wrapped up. Y'all had my girl looking like just mauled over. Like, I know the monsters was eating good and had a good little feast, okay? There was no meat on the bone, okay? They will forever beat the allegations that they make sure that they lick it off the bone, okay? Clean meat, all right? So we see that Sarah goes to tell Christy about what happened. You know, first Christy's like, hold on, ho, like, I know you and Boyd may be cool, but you're not cool over here. So you can't just be rolling up in my house like you could just, like, we cool, like we okay. But she was like, hey, girl, I'm just here to tell you about Tinchin. So she's obviously upset. You know, Marielle is trying to figure out what happened. But we see that Boyd is still being very haunted through this episode. Now, do I feel like you guys needed to show the flashbacks every 5 seconds? I did not. I didn't need to see it. You already showed us last week, okay? It's becoming a bit much for me. Don't let it happen again, all right? But Donna finds out what happens at Colony House and she comes to find Boyd. And I already knew that she was going to be on one. But when she was like, how many did you save? And he was like, huh? She was like, I mean, how many did you save? Was it worth it? And I was like, I know you effing lying. Like, hold on. Back up, Donna. Back up. Okay, you coming on a little too strong. Now, did I feel like Donna might have had a point? Sure. But I felt like the anger was misplaced, okay? And he did eat her up. But he was like, hold on, girl. You was about to have a whole breakdown over not having any food. And now you want to come at me because I was trying to make sure that y'all raggedy behinds had some meat. Okay, me killing Ethan's friends and saving them so we could kill them and eat them, like, the audacity. He was like, the F out of here. I was like, you better let her know. Even she had to be like, hold on, my bad. She was like, let me chill out for a moment. Cause I was like, honey, time and place. It was not the time nor the place, all right? So, going to Kenny and Jim. So, Kenny and Jim, you know, they set out because Kenny was helping Jim try to find Tabitha because she's been missing. And so they end up finding this food outside the little voodoo house, okay? So they find this food and they get excited because they're like, yo, we could feed the entire town. And so Kenny is so excited to come back. He was like, look, y'all, we got food. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, like who finna tell them? And then that whole exchange when he could see like on their faces that something's wrong. You know, Jim's like, hey, where are my kids? And so he's like, the kids are safe. And then Kenny's like, hold on. So if his kids is safe, why y'all looking at him? He's like, where's my mom? And then when he was start saying mom, and then he starts saying in Cantonese, I was just like, I don't think I can take this right now. So he ends up telling them, you know, what happened, and he basically runs off to the diner, and then Chrissy decides to go after him. Now, I don't know if they're ever going to come back to this potential love triangle between Christy, Kenny, and Marielle. Like, it's kind of like stuff was kind of moving in the right direction between Christy and Kenny, and then Marielle came back, and we just never revisited that whole thing again. But, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait to see. But we see that she goes to check on him. And he keeps trying to say, like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And it just really sucks because, you know, he already lost his dad and now he's lost his mom. You know, he lost Christy to her fiance. So it's just like, you know, he's all alone. He's by himself now. And so he's trying to put on this brave face like he's okay. But Christy can definitely tell that, you know, he's not all right. And so he asks her a favor and he says, hey, like, you know, I could never get over seeing what the monsters did to my dad's body. So could you do me a favor and make sure that my mom's body looks nice? So I was just kind of like, now I know she promised this because she hadn't seen that body yet, but I was like, honey, like, Tension looked like she was a whole family meal that like the whole family just ate and left nothing for anybody else. But she agreed and said that, you know, she was going to do what he wanted him to do. And so we do see that after she leaves the diner, all of a sudden, why do monsters start playing Celebration? Like they're celebrating how they had this whole little all-you-can-eat buffet the night before. Like Kenny not here mourning his mama. I was like, the audacity, the nerve, the pettiness. Did I laugh? I did laugh. I'm sorry, Tension. I did laugh. But even you knew that was funny. Like for them to sit up there and start playing Celebration. But it was highly disrespectful. Now to Jim, who is probably like the worst parent in the world, because I just don't understand the parenting dynamic or the lack of from him. So when he comes back, he goes to check on Julie and Ethan, and Julie is upset. She was like, Daddy, you gotta get your ish together, honey, okay? Because when we lost Thomas, you and Mama, y'all just left and nobody was there to help Ethan. And I'm not sitting up here raising these kids that y'all made, okay? That's not my business. So you need to get your ish together. Now, I did have to jump back for Mom because I was like, oh, we cursing out our daddies? Like, that's what we doing, Julie? But she was like, look, I'm recovering from my trauma, so I can't take on your trauma and then try to help this little boy who asks all these little raggedy questions that don't mean nothing. So you need to figure it out and become a parent. And then she basically leaves because she's going through it. You know, she goes to talk to Sarah and like kind of thanks Sarah for saving them. And then she kind of, you know, she says that she thinks that the place kind of got into her head. Like, even though boys saved them, like she still feels like this town has some type of control over her. And she doesn't want to end up hurting people like Sarah did. But she walks away before they can finish the conversation. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what Julie's connection still is. You know, will her and Sarah become friends after Sarah tried to kill her brother Ethan? I don't know. But we'll see what happens. So after all of this and Jim trying to attempt to be a better person, and then he just letting Ethan run off and do his own thing. And I was just like, Jim, now how many times have y'all lost Ethan in the past 2 seasons so far? And you finna just let him walk off after Julie just told you to be a better parent? I just don't understand. But the craziest part of the episode is what happens at the end when Jim gets a phone call and there's a kid over the phone and they say that their name is Thomas, which is the child that passed away, but that child was a baby. So how is this little kid talking on the phone talking about his Thomas? Because I know you effing lying, because Thomas was a baby. So somebody have it make sense for me, because the math is not mathing on that, but I know that freaked Jim out because it freaked me out as well. I guess we do need to talk about Tabitha, who is in the real world. And so we saw at the end of last week's episode that she ended up finding, she found Victor's dad, who I'm still confused because looks younger than Victor, but I guess the town just ages you a little bit more. I don't know. But you know, he asked her, like, why do you have my son's lunchbox? And so she went to this whole story, like, well, me and my family, we was on a road trip to Colorado to go visit some family. He was like, girl, I don't give a damn about your family. I'm trying to figure out what happened to my child. Why do you have my child's lunchbox from decades ago? Help me to understand. So she's trying to explain it to him, but honestly, I was like, Tabitha, I wouldn't believe you either. So he didn't already call the police on her because he's like, I'm finna get this lady out of my house. She got my son lunchbox. I don't know what the heck she's talking about. I just need to figure out where my son is. So she ends up saying something that kind of like makes him believe her, because she talks about how these children were calling out to her to try to save them. And then he tells her, like, this is the same thing that was going on with my wife. You know, I left, you know, home to my kids, like, make sure you clean up the dang old room. And I came back and they were gone. But she has all these paintings, and it was the paintings of the tower. You see like all of these like images, like premonitions, which I don't know if that's why Victor can do the same thing, but you know, he basically tells her like that she was saying she was chosen to go help save the children, but she wasn't able to. So now they believe that Tabitha is the one who is now chosen to go save everyone. But there's been multiple people before her, before Victor's mom, who haven't been able to actually accomplish the task. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. I think it'll be really interesting to see how that entire storyline is going to play out with Tabitha and with Victor's dad. I hope he does find him, because I just want to see them side by side to try to figure out, like, how is this your daddy? But that's besides the point, okay? So he ends up getting the police to leave. You know, he shows her the paintings. So we'll see how that basically ends up playing out. Now, Ethan, I feel so bad because Ethan's been getting on my nerves, but I know he's just a child and I just have to have patience with him. But he tore about 10 chin. But Victor did not have to go off on Ethan like that. Now, he did tell him, hey, little boy, this is why I said I didn't want no new friends, because my new friends, they always end up dying, and it's just too much for me. So he like went off on him, basically telling him, like, you need to grow up, get your life together. And so he goes to Colony House, Ethan, to look for Victor, and then like Donna just sitting up here for Landis cow, and then Ethan kind of looking like, I mean, y'all really sitting up here like just cutting up all my friends in front of me, like this is okay, all right? And then she was like, hey, how about we, and he's like, actually, I'm gonna go home. Donna, you up here cutting up his friend in front of him, and you got all this blood on you, like he was finna sit up here and play with you. Haven't made sense for me, Donna, because the math is a math thing. But what also doesn't make sense, Fatima, I don't understand. So she has all this morning sickness. Then her teeth start falling out. Now, Ellis, you being like, are you okay? Like, don't you hear me throwing up? No, I'm not okay. All right. Can you let me throw up in peace, please? But when she spit up that tooth, she's like, nah, I think we gotta go to the doctor. Like, I think you might have been on to something. We gotta go to the doctor. And so when they go and he sees that it's Marielle and Chrissy's not there, Ellis, he was like, are you sure you're gonna be okay? Like, you was just possessed, girl, and you was going through withdrawals. Can you really take care of my pregnant wife? Because I don't know if I should be letting you do anything medically with my family. And I was just like, not Ellis. But then I was just like, you know what? He got a point. Like, you were just possessed. I don't even know if you still possessed, because you got Julie over here talking about that she might feel like they still got a power over her. So it's just a lot, all right? It's a lot going on. But she was just like, who else you finna have? Do you see anybody else here? Do you see anybody else that was a pediatric nurse? Then shut your mouth and let me take a look at your wife, okay? So she tells her she has severe, she has severe morning sickness, and she hasn't been eating or keeping anything down, which is why she could be having these symptoms. But we see that when she goes back to the Colony House, I'm happy old girl who was getting real buck and froggy in the first episode outside the bathroom door, she apologized to her. But as soon as I saw that food, I said, Lord, I know she finna eat this food. I know she finna eat this rotten food. And baby, when I said she was going to town, like it was an all-you-can-eat buffet on these rotten beets and vegetables, like, disgusting. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is she pregnant by Ellis or is she pregnant by these monsters? Because the monsters are the ones who poison the ground, and now she's pregnant. Is it a monster baby? Is it Ellis baby? I don't know what's going on, but I'm just trying to figure out what my girl is eating rotten food, because the math is a math thing. But we lay Miss Tension to rest. Chrissy ate that. Chrissy and Jay, they really ate with that whole thing, because they had her looking good, because she was really looking like some empty chicken bones. But they got her together. They had a nice little service. But then Boyd decides that, like, well, actually first Kenny has started wilding out. He started filling up the bottles of liquor so he can go blow the whole cave up. And then Boyd was like, hey, I'm gonna be your ride or die. I don't think this is the best idea, but if you want to lead us to our deaths, I'll do that with you. I'm okay with it. I'll go. So he went, and then he ended up talking him out of it. And so they had their funeral and laid tension to rest, but he tells Ellis at the end that he wants to go capture one of the monsters again. So I don't know. I feel like a lot is going to happen, but what I do appreciate about the first 2 episodes so far, I'm just happy that things are actually happening. I felt like the previous 2 seasons, like it would just be a whole lot of filler and then something happens at the end of the episode. But I actually do feel like we're moving somewhere, like we're going in the right direction and things are happening a lot quicker than what is typically done in the past. But Harold is the MVP of the episode. Kenny in a close second. Kenny, I forgot the actor's name off the top of my head who plays Kenny, but I thought he also did a phenomenal job. Like the emotion of the episode of still like feeling Tension's death, I thought it was really good. And I like that we're still continuing this mystery. And I like that the townspeople are kind of like, no, like we're not going to just keep accepting our fate. We're actually going to start fighting back. So I'm happy to see where that would lead us. And Ricky, he is the person who portrays Kenny. I thought he did a phenomenal job as well. But yeah, like R.I.P. Tension. I'm so sorry for laughing at Celebration and saying that you look like a whole family piece of empty bones. But those are my thoughts on From Season 3, Episode 2. Let me know in the comment section below, what did you think? Did you like this episode? Do you like kind of the pacing of where we're going with the season with these first 2 episodes? Let me know in the comment section below what you thought. But as always, my name is Sharana from payorwait. If you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye.